As Jeff shared, I'm on the energy industry team at Microsoft, and uh, for us, energy means oil and gas, mining, power utilities, renewables, carbon management, sort of all things end to end in the industry. And our job as an energy industry team is to help Microsoft serve the industry effectively. So looking very forward to talking through what it means to become frontier in the energy industry. And just to maybe a little bit more about my background, I spent about 13 years in the energy industry, specifically the oil and gas industry, before coming to Microsoft about 8 years ago. So again, Jeff, thank you for the generous intro and the opportunity to have this discussion. So first of all, I'd love to share maybe starting at a high level, and then we'll zoom into the energy industry. Microsoft has a report called the 2025 Work Trend Index Annual Report. And basically, we polled about 31,000 people across 31 countries and across various industries, including the energy industry. And the themes are very, very aligned for the most part across industry, right? Um, AI is reshaping a lot of organizations into frontier firms, meaning they are leveraging AI first. When they think about how they run their businesses, how they build new processes, etc., they are thinking about how to leverage AI. The human and agent collaboration is huge. So think of how many of us use agents. If you're using Copilot to help write emails or refine documents, you're leveraging an agent, and you're in that human agent collaboration, and it's truly redefining various roles. Also, uh, it's important we're seeing that AI literacy and skilling is critical, and every company is expressing the interest and high demand for skilling for their people, and that AI literacy is crucial. So these themes should be aligned across multiple industries. Also, we offer sort of a framework of what it means to become frontier. Phase one starts with that human and agent collaboration, where you and I are using Copilot for general activities, and then phase two would be an agent orchestrating a group of agents led at a high level by a human, and then finally imagine an agent sort of operations, supply chain agents and operations agents and customer service agents working across a broader organization. And that's sort of the highest level of maturity. But at a high level, that's sort of the definition. And AI is we're seeing certain challenges coming into the energy industry specifically due to the focus on AI. There's definitely the energy aspect, and there's a higher demand for energy. Also, um, in essence, there's a higher need for trained people who can use AI to build processes and serve customers and do various things. And there's just a major challenge. 197 companies, energy companies, have said that they're finding it difficult to find people who can do this work and who can leverage AI in their work. And then just another example around some of these challenges, AI is creating more complex cybersecurity attacks. The volume of cybersecurity attacks per week is growing daily and weekly and monthly just because AI makes it easier for bad actors to execute on cyber attacks. Now, on the positive side, we are seeing a lot of impact from AI. Companies are using AI to save on their grid investments. There's a annual savings of $15 billion in grid investment costs leveraging AI. We're seeing 92% of companies are saying that they will increase their AI investments. over the next 3 years. And we're also seeing, 82% of leaders across industries, including energy industry, are saying that they expect to use AI agents in their work and to help them increase their workforce capacity. So this is all sort of good news and things that we are all seeing in our work. Now, you might say, okay, this is all great. How do I um, leverage a structured framework to get to become frontier? And so we've offered these sort of four boxes. And what we're seeing, and this is based on what we're seeing uh, for our customers across industries, they are leveraging generative AI to become frontier by enriching their employee experiences, by reinventing customer engagement, by reshaping business processes, and also by bending the curve on innovation. And we're seeing very, very tangible use cases. For example, in employee experiences, we're seeing companies use AI agents and co-pilots to generate work orders, to systematically create inspection reports, to drive and improve the upskilling of their people. In reinventing customer engagement, we're seeing energy companies uh, dramatically reduce the volume of work on their customer service agents by leveraging AI. In reshaping business processes, we're seeing a wide variety of ops-focused use cases like asset management and supply chain, and grid optimization, wide variety of use cases in that space. And in bend the curve on innovation, we're seeing energy operators and services companies use AI as they develop new products and develop new processes and protect their infrastructure. So wide variety of things that we're seeing. And we're supporting them. These are a couple of the logos of companies from Chevron and Eneco and Uniper and Petronas that we're serving across these. And I'll share across these four boxes. I'll spend some time sharing some of the things that we're learning, and then I'll leave some time at the end for some Q&A. So starting with enriching employee experiences, um, I feel the need to sort of double click into this one a little more because it's low-hanging fruit. A lot of us are already benefiting uh, as employees when we leverage generative AI tools. But for example, these tools allow us to upskill. These tools allow us to generate things like work orders and inspection reports in real time. These tools allow us to immerse ourselves in real-time training simulations and things like that. So it's really, really, really um, low-hanging fruit for a lot of companies. And so for that reason, I wanted to mention that first. And you think about a company like Chevron, they are a key strategic partner for Microsoft. Also, they're partnering with us on something called the Facility of the Future. And so you imagine Chevron has refineries, they have oil and gas upstream operations around the world. And at these operations, they have um, assets, they have frontline workers, they have robotics, they have a wide variety of IoT devices, and really leveraging AI, we're able to help them integrate all of those data points. And Chevron is a very mature customer, so they've spent a lot of time um, laying the foundation of the data estate, creating a rich data platform, and then now as they build agentic tools, they're able to leverage that data, pull from that data, and execute on health and safety use cases, use cases that enable their employees to learn faster while on the job, use cases that allow them, when they show up to a job, they're able to easily get access to work orders and drawings and things like that. And so all this helps their people to be safer on the job, um, minimal health and safety recordables, minimize downtime. They have all the tools that they need to do their work when a frontline worker gets to an asset. Also, the predictive maintenance use cases on these assets as well allow for minimized downtime and making sure that they are not just aware of any assets that might fail. It could be a valve, it could be a gas turbine, it could be a compressor. They stay on top of those things, but also when they ship out um, equipment and inventory and also ask frontline workers to go out to site, those folks are very well prepared and have all the tools that they need. I wanted to very quickly show just a quick video of some of the work that we're doing with Chevron around the facilities of the future and how it's enabling their employee experiences. Jeff, just a quick check. Did you hear that sound?
Yeah, no audio.
No audio.
Chevron 2030.
How about now?
Yep, heard it then.
All right.
Step into the future with Chevron 2030, where human ingenuity and innovation are evolving today's facilities and operations to help deliver lower carbon energy more efficiently and more safely. Today, our operators visit sites multiple times per day to check equipment and look for anomalies. Tomorrow, we're pursuing a future where an operator's duties are enhanced by real-time data, automation, and AI assistance. Travel time and manual checks are reduced, helping improve efficiencies and lowering risk. Today, maintenance can be time-consuming and troubleshooting difficult. In the future, we're working to deploy predictive models that help identify and prescribe maintenance solutions more quickly, reducing downtime while extending the lifespan of our machinery. Control room operators are focused on monitoring critical operations and responding to process upsets. With artificial intelligence and advanced modeling, we're aiming to enhance our operators' ability to make real-time decisions and do value chain optimization, helping the facility to run more efficiently, even in the most remote environments. Historically, engineers have faced inefficiencies due to disconnected data and siloed systems. Digital twins are beginning to solve for that, integrating real-time data with advanced models and visualizations, amplifying the engineer's creativity and engineering expertise in complex problem solving. Building on our robust safety measures, we're evolving and collaborating with partners to minimize risk to people and the environment. We're increasing the deployment of drones and robotics in hazardous work situations. And to support Chevron's lower carbon ambitions, we're deploying advanced sensors and monitoring technologies to help reduce emissions and grow a more resilient energy system. Disconnected data and inconsistent connectivity are becoming inefficiencies of the past. With cyber-secure, cloud-integrated systems, we're bringing data harmony and accessibility to our facilities and operations, extending our productivity to the benefit of our people. Join us. Our exciting journey into the future starts now, with emerging technologies helping us reimagine safer, more connected, and more optimized operations. Witness the power of human ingenuity and innovation and watch us bring to life enduring solutions for the energy system of the future. This is Chevron 2030. In partnership with Microsoft for a lower carbon future.
So what I love about that video, they talk about leveraging, AI tools to keep people safe, right? So one, predictive maintenance agents minimize the amount of time people have to go out on site, and then when they do go out on site, um, AI tools help them be better prepared. Uh, they can identify the key issues faster. Um, they're also able to have better information around the core issues of the assets, and then tools that are available in the company from drawings, inspection reports, all that stuff. And then even after the job, they're able to provide the insights and learnings from that job back into a closed loop in the organization. And then there are a broader, wide variety of use cases from robotics and other use cases, supply chain use cases, transport use cases. So it's just a very rich video. So shifting to the next box around reinventing customer engagement. So there are energy focused services companies, and so this is a crucial need for them, right? From energy services companies to companies like Eneco that serve customers like you and I. They're an energy power utilities operator. And for them, the ability to be able to address their 1.5 million customers who reach out for various things, whether it's an outage in their community or a simple billing issue, they were feeling the impact of just a high volume of customer reach outs. So leveraging AI and Copilot Studio, they actually created, using this low-code tool, created their own agent. And this agent was actually able to address about 60 to 70% of sort of lower risk customer requests. This freed up the customer service agents to be able to handle much more complex use cases. And so this is such a huge opportunity that we're seeing because one, um, people in companies know the processes that need to be improved. They know what the lower risk, in this case, lower risk customer requests are. It could be something as simple as an invoicing request, but giving them the ability to create, a low code agent using Copilot Studio, which they use in production, is so powerful. And then to see the impact um, that they're able to handle so many of their customer requests through their chatbot is a very powerful story, enabling their customer service agents to be more effective. Um, Now, business processes is huge, right, in the energy industry because it's a very heavy industrial and process-driven environment. And so a customer like Uniper is a great example of a company, in addition, by the way, to Chevron and others that are frontier firms. Uniper, we've worked with them over the years. They've moved a large volume of their data to the cloud, and so they've created really a data estate that's ready for this sort of next phase of leveraging agentic AI. So they're leveraging AI in a lot of their processes. In this process here, it speaks to their auditing process and how it's very streamlined, leveraging co-pilots where they use it to streamline their auditing checklist process. But even across the company, they're leveraging AI to build new processes as they have frontline workers who are just trying to do simple things like create a workflow for how to deploy field workers to site, all the way to more back office processes, like leveraging Copilot for the development of their 10K, as an example, their annual report. They are one of the customers that continuously is an active user of the Copilot seats that they have, and they just always think agentic first. How can I leverage agentic tools in all my processes, from the front office to the back office to for frontline workers? And that's a very, 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 very powerful approach that we're seeing in energy operators that want to be frontier firms. Now, what we are also doing as an energy and resources team, we've actually created something called a Gen AI permitting accelerator. And one of the things that we noticed, and this started as we were supporting the nuclear industry, the nuclear permitting process can take years. And a lot of it is because there are a lot of documents in disparate places, and there's a lot of data mining that's needed to aggregate all the resources that you need from those documents to create the permitting process. And so we started by, leveraging um, our generative AI copilot tools to actually create a copilot that aggregated that specifically for the nuclear industry, and it worked quite well, streamlining the process from what could have been a year to weeks. And then now what we've done is created a permitting accelerator that can be used in different industries, energy, broader energy industry, construction, et cetera. And so that's another sort of, in the spirit of reshaping business processes, that's another example I wanted to give. And then this is another very interesting one that I wanted to show, and it's just a video demo I'll talk through as this is playing. But imagine you're an energy operator. You show up. You're helping to look after a group of a wind farm, and this group of assets here. And so you go in, and you're enabled by an AI agent that looks after the asset management. And you see here that there are potentially one or two assets that have issues. And so you ask a natural language enabled question, which turbine has the most downtime last week? And the Copilot gives you a quick answer. And then you ask, which alarms occurred on turbine two, because that's the one that seems to have the most issues. And the agent gives you a very good response. It tells you that there are too many vibrations, low oil, high temperature, and even offers a diagram that shows the vibrations against a average vibration line. So to enable this, of course, this agent is pulling from data from maybe a Mark 6E controller, as an example. It's pulling from a database that's aggregating streaming data. It's pulling from historical data about this wind farm. So it's a wide variety of tools that are enabling that use case. But it's a wonderful example of how something that used to be very minor, a field service tech would have to look at the Mark 6E and measure this and that. But in that example, there's a very clean, natural language interaction with that agent to get to the use case. And then this is another one that I wanted to
Firstly, you can summarize
quickly talk through because it's very relevant for a lot of energy operators and a lot of industries in general. You have a lot of contracts. Imagine, years and years and years of contracts, and there's so many various use cases, from looking at different limits of liability, comparing different contracts, and on and on and on. So I want to play just a short segment of this one just to show how this energy operator, they've already ingested years and years and years of contract information into and then they've created so let's say they have all that on a SharePoint, and then through Copilot Studio here, they've created a contracting Copilot. And now they're going to demo how they use it very practically in the business. So let me see again. Jeff, let me know if you can hear this.
Okay, then let's start by
There you go.
some
Got
specific
it?
queries.
All right. So let's play, and I'll only play just a minute of this just to give you a flavor. And thank you again, Jeff, just to give you a flavor for how this um, is being used in this use case.
Search for a supplier, or do other things like spend queries. Okay, then let's start by summarizing a contract. So if I go here and I'll do summarize contract, I enter my contract number and click OK. And straight away you can see here some of the details coming out from that contract. So what it's doing is it's providing information like just a summary of the services, the schedule, the payment, and some of the termination clause here as well. This can be really helpful of really understanding in a very simple way what the contract involves without having to read through hundreds and hundreds of pages. Next, let's take a look at some of the liabilities of the contract. So we enter the description here, click OK, and there we go. We can start to see a summary here. So what it's done is extracted some of the information from the contract so you can see it. So if you're looking for details of the insurance, this is covered on page 25. You've got the details there. And this can save a lot of time and effort and reduce the need for manual review of entire, very long documents. So now let's look at fees. Let's understand a little bit more about what the contract says about that. So I enter the information and you can see here you go, it's pulled out all this information here. So there are 3 milestones. It shows me the dates the payments are due and how much they're involved. And it's also provided some additional information here to really help me understand a lot more about the contract and the values that are involved. Brilliant. Next, I want to understand if there are any clauses that may pose risk. So if I'll put the information here, click next, it's going off and doing our search, and here you go. So straight away we can highlight any risks and issues in the contract. It's summarizing some of the points where it deviates from our standard clauses or industry best practices, and also it's suggesting how we might be able to mitigate some of these risks. Brilliant. The next.
So I'll stop there for now, but I love this demo. I used to be a commercial operations leader for an energy services company, and I mean you can imagine just what it took to set up this use case from putting you have the historical contracts in a SharePoint, for example. And then you can imagine, like we used to have, some of these were scanned a long time ago. So you actually would need cognitive services and OCR to look at to actually ingest and analyze some of these very, very old contracts that were poorly scanned and pull that data as well. And then you can imagine within Copilot Studio, for those who are familiar with it, setting up the right topics and all of that to be able to now offer the energy operator, in this case, such a clean interface with the agent. For me, I just find it to be such a powerful, powerful use case. And again, aligned to this reshape processes.
The thing I want to do is.
Okay, so let's finish up here with bend the curve on innovation. And the example I'll offer here is Aker BP. So in the oil and gas industry, a key part in the innovation bucket is figuring out where to produce, where to explore, and where to produce. And so um, we've created, this is a very unique story because we've created a product called Azure Data Manager for Energy. So this is a first-party product built on the OSDU trademark open standard. And traditionally, oil and gas operators have leveraged various tools, landmark tools, SLB tools, various sort of smaller tools. But again, these have all been very, very valuable to them. And they've leveraged certain tools for volumetrics and certain tools for reservoir um, an analysis and simulation and certain tools for drilling operations. And so, what a lot of energy operators are trying to do now is to seamlessly remove the barriers between those various data silos and create an integrated process. It saves time, in some cases, years in the E&P process. But now there's an opportunity, and this is what Aker BP does in this scenario, leveraging an agent that sits on that data, as an example. And so this improves the ability, and I'll show a video demo here that gives you a good flavor of what it looks like. But it increases the ability to have that natural language engagement with the data. So now you've unlocked the various data silos, and and that provides such a powerful agentic AI experience, because now you can ask a wide variety of questions, and you're not limited to siloed data silos and being limited in terms of the return you get. So I think in terms of innovation here, you're talking about a reduction in the amount of time to value. But then on top of that, the efficiency and ease, and also traditional business users can now leverage this, while maybe a use case like this was limited to very specialized people. So I'm going to show a video demo here that sort of double clicks a little bit into the use
Energy
case.
Asset Evaluation Accelerator. Accelerators are solutions Microsoft customers and partners can trust because they are built using a consistent recipe to drive solution truth. Let's walk through a scenario. Contoso Energy uses Azure Data Manager for Energy for their structured wells data, like well logs, wellbore trajectories, and wellbore markers. They also use SharePoint to store and organize their unstructured data such as geological, well, and seismic interpretation reports as PDFs and images. Energy Asset Evaluation Accelerator leverages Azure Data Manager for Energy, Microsoft Fabric, and generative AI to transform the access, analysis, and sharing of energy data for rapid asset evaluation. It provides quick and actionable insights from both structured and unstructured data through a single interface, enabling teams to decrease time to decision. Geophysicist Hayden Lopez wants to analyze these data sets to assess geological hazards and operations risks in New Zealand's offshore Taranaki Basin. Hayden opens the Energy Asset Evaluation Accelerator and asks it to create a summary of wellbore stability reports and logs for Taranaki Basin wells with abnormal pressure readings. The solution quickly generates a comprehensive summary of reports and logs from several wells in the Taranaki Basin, with associated geological and operations insights. Hayden sees an interesting reference, PR 3735 Seismic Interpretation Report, Deepwater Taranaki, a 129-page document. Hayden uses the Energy Asset Evaluation Accelerator to summarize key points of the report, thus eliminating the need to search through the entire document. Next, Hayden asks about specific geological hazards in the Taranaki Basin and implications for operations. The solution not only delivers the appropriate response based on the available data landscape, but also suggests additional relevant prompts for deeper insights. Hayden now wants deeper detail on historical wellbore and data to identify potential hazards. First, Hayden asks for a list of all wells wellbores in the offshore Taranaki Basin. Hayden realizes that this data would be more useful in Excel for further investigation and asks to export the tabular data into an Excel workbook. Hayden uses the power of Excel to better visualize hazard patterns on a map. Next, Hayden uses Copilot in Power BI to generate a new report using its connection to wells and wellbore data in Azure Data Manager for Energy. Power BI generates a fully formatted report using New Zealand wells and wellbore data in Azure Data Manager for Energy. Since Copilot is available across all M365 products and services, Hayden and the team can use the solution to create documents in Word. Energy Asset Evaluation Accelerator, a Microsoft solution accelerator that helps energy customers and partners improve efficiency and productivity through digital data access and analysis in the upstream. Energy Asset.
So there's a lot going here in this demo, right? So we talked about the first party solution. That's a Microsoft solution, Azure Data Manager for Energy. And then there's the Energy Asset Evaluation Accelerator, which is actually an agent that we built in Copilot Studio. And then what we did as a data source, we connected because there's a Fabric connector between Azure Data Manager for Energy and Fabric. And then we basically pulled that into Copilot Studio as a data source. And then that just sort of sets up this because through Azure Data Manager for Energy, there's all this data flowing from the customer, and so it allows for that wonderful engagement between the energy operator and the agent. And then there's a flow down of that, sort of visualizing the data in Power BI, pulling certain pieces and landing it into Excel, landing some of that into Word. So just a full use of the stack in this example. So I've talked about a couple of examples, but I just want to zoom out for a second, say there are a lot of use cases, right? That we've helped customers with health and safety, supply chain, connected assets, field worker, energy efficiency, helping with platforms for electric vehicles, uh, renewable smart grid. So a wide variety of things that we're not going to be able to talk about today. Maybe some of it will come up in the Q&A, but just wanted to show that we've had a wide variety of conversations with energy operators over the years, and so I'll finish with this slide, and then we can open it up for Q&A. I'll pass it back to Jeff to help facilitate the Q&A. But I get asked this question all the time. Okay, well, that's great. Where do I get started? And what we find is that a lot of energy operators already know what their short list of industry use cases is. You know where your pain points are, and these are the high impact use cases where you feel you could make it's low hanging fruit, or it's an area where there's a high cost, and you're trying to minimize those costs, or potentially it's an area where you could drive more efficiency with your employees, etc. So, but figuring out those use cases and really having a conversation with our Microsoft team, scheduling a workshop with us at one of our Microsoft Innovation Hubs. Even if you don't have those use cases, we can have that conversation at the workshop. Or if you have those use cases already, we can do a rapid prototyping type conversation and build agents, open up Copilot Studio or Azure AI Foundry, and start building these agents. Start plugging them into data sources in your organization. Start driving adoption and having your users use them and make impact. So that would be a very, 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 very quick way to start taking it from where you are now, where you might be now. Some of you might already be quite advanced, but starting from those use cases all the way to having these workshops and using that as a way to accelerate. So I'll pause there, Jeff, and maybe we can see if there are any questions. Okay, I see.
Yeah, Cliff, feel free to come off mute.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. It was really nice and enlightening. So my organization has taken some steps in this path, right? We have a data lake with data coming from various sources across, safety, operations, you name it, right? So, and we also are leveraging Copilot Studio and have Copilot licenses and are trying to explore the various use cases of it. So to leverage some of these use cases, namely the one that you have with Energy Asset Evaluation Accelerator, is that something we can enable now as a service in Copilot, and can that access the data in our data lake, which is in Fabric?
Yeah, it can. It also, because for that particular use case, you would also need to leverage Azure Data Manager for Energy. So if you and also are you open to OSDU as a standard, right? So there are broader questions around that.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you might say, yeah, absolutely. OSDU might be, what a stand, because that's usually an enterprise decision where there you might be using SLB tools today or landmark tools today, and then you say, hey, you know what? We actually want to have a open standard and break the silos between those data sets. Fantastic. So you land Azure Data Manager for energy, the connector for Fabric, that comes out of the box, no issues. You have Copilot Studio already. And we have the pattern for the agent, and you're good to go. But the key is the agent is of no use if you don't have sort of that data, the data connected through Azure Data Manager for Energy, the first party solution.
Okay. And that's a Microsoft offering?
It is a Microsoft offering that can be deployed through Azure Portal.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good stuff. Any other questions? Okay. Let me share my screen real quick. Oh, no, looks like we've got one. Nick, feel free to come off mute.
Hey, thank you guys. Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
We
loud
can
and
hear you.
clear.
Awesome. So SharePoint use case that you had earlier, we've been kind of picking away at finding the right solution, whether it's, local SharePoint agents, Copilot agents, cognitive services, syntax, mining through a pretty large trove of similar documents, legal documents. I noticed that the guys basically in the video was suggesting document by document.
Mhm.
Is there a recommended solution to do this stuff en masse if these things are dated and maybe don't have metadata tags to support some
Uh,
sort of analysis like that?
yeah, I have a thought, but I'm also curious if Jeff and any of our colleagues maybe have like a very technical answer to that, because I have an opinion, but I just want to check in first with the team, with the Microsoft team on the call.
Nothing for me. I mean, I'm not deep into SharePoint, but we can certainly kind of follow up if you've already got a thought. I'm happy to
Yeah,
take it back to the team, and we can get a broader answer to you, though, Nick.
yeah, I would love us to follow up with this one, and also even the last question that came through, because that's a great one in the sense that um, you already have the data. Let's say you have the contracts in SharePoint. I think it comes down to um, the training of the models, right? So and that training comes through topics in Copilot Studio, for example. And so in that example, the operator was asking very specific questions like, hey, what's this type of liability for a particular contract? That there's a topic. So that particular prompt hits on a topic that is in Copilot Studio. So if there's a particular type of prompt that you'd like to ask, like, hey, on average, if we look at, the historical contracts, what is the most general term that's in there? I don't know, I'm just making up a prompt.
Totally.
If you've defined a topic that will go out and look for that, then it should be doable. And then at that point, it would be a matter of, um, is the data readable? And part of the issues that I explained, for example, is, there's some of these old contracts that were scanned, old school way, as an example, and stuff like that. So we would love to have a follow up with you on that, and Jeff, if maybe it's to reach out to you directly, but I think that's a wonderful use case for us to dig into.
Yeah, I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, Nick, reach out to me directly, and we can I'll find exactly the right individuals to connect you with, but would love to dig deeper into that with you.
Yeah, it's a
Fantastic. Thank you, guys.
great meaty one.
Yeah, we're looking at, north of 30 terabytes. Of,
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah. That's
Cool.
fantastic.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.